with my colleague and panelists, Mr. Hans, Mr. Bharat, Mr. Satyaprakash Singh ji, Mr. Deepak, and Mr. Sudhir here. And all of these persons are a giant in their own industries, contributing somehow to the media and OTT. And what the technology brings us next is what we are going to explore it here. So, let me start with Mr. Bharat. Mr. Bharat, the technology is coming up fast. Like, you have to adopt it. The upcoming technologies in the phases of OTT media, whether it's on the part of devices or the software or the data communication, artificial intelligence, and all these things. So at first, I would like this panel to introduce that how we contribute our best to frame on what's next. So your views, please.
I think what has changed in television, something we've all understood, is that almost all of TV is now consumed on a connected screen. It doesn't matter how the video itself comes. It could come through satellite, could come through mobile, it could be VOD, it could be linear, but it is all getting consumed on a connected screen. So the interesting thing about a connected screen is it has feedback, it has interactivity, and this opens up a lot of opportunities there because consumers expect superior experiences. They want to pause, they want to engage, they want to interact with all of this. In fact, consumers are also deciding what to click on, what video to start watching, using what is marketed about the video, what kind of metadata you make available about the video, which is an unprecedented opportunity because so far in the yesteryear world, people were used to these linear guides. Not even a picture was being shown, but suddenly you want interactive trailers, you want poster art and so on. In our experience, we've been working with several top OTTs, for example, Hotstar, ZEE5, Airtel, and so on. With each of them, there is an unprecedented commitment towards more interactive experiences. Just to name a few things like personalized poster art, can you have X-ray-like experience where you can pause and engage with the people? Can you come up with different flows for different types of consumers? So if you have a kid along with you, then you may want to skip a section of the movie because it's not child appropriate. All of this has opened several opportunities for us, and we've been hard at work as technology providers to this industry. Several of these are going to launch very soon. So we are very excited and happy to share more thoughts around this. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Bharat. That was a very fine intake on what's basically you can expect the arenas that we need to work on for the future techs. All those sectors come into it, whether it is the devices or the metadata or the softwares. Then the next panelist I have with me is Mr. Hans from iVidya. And Mr. Hans, you are already doing a lot of software activities into the field of media and IT. I like what's new is coming up. What you like to throw a light upon for us.
Yeah, thank you. So we are actually a software integrator for set-top boxes and TV software. So all the products that you have in your living room can be developed by us. Our customers are typically then pay TV operators and telcos, and all of them have now a number of issues in front of them that we help to solve them. The first one is to make the user experience of the TV a better one. And that can mean that it's easier to find content, and content discovery aggregation is certainly one of their major concerns they have. But the second thing is also that want to understand who is actually watching the content. Is it just a person, which is easy if you have mobile phone as your use case, but in the living room, you typically find a group of people, more than one. Could be your wife, your kids, or a group of people. And this is where new technology may help. Some of our customers are now adding cameras on top of a TV, and that can be used, for example, for data gathering, audience measurement. So how many people, what gender, what are they do, what is their mood? But more interesting also, you can use it for more interactive content. You can use it for example, to do interactive gaming things. And of course, everyone talks about metaverse. Yes, you can put on your virtual sneakers and put your sneakers on top of a game that is rendered on the TV set itself. Or you can do things like watch party, where people that you like, you can invite and enjoy live content using the same experience and chit chat with them on a big screen. So these are user experiences where operators are highly interested to make use of living room devices, but also together with new content out there.
Mr. Hans, this sounds so exciting, like a new environment for the user. Like if it is going for his home automation or his environment, how he selects his user interface or his environment with the what he want to view or the viewer perspective or what he views the most, all other things, and the devices or the softwares that value and even note the user angle data where you intend to serve it best. I think this diverts me to one more point, is the capability, or you can say rather the modernization and upcoming developments coming on the device part. Now I think Mr. Sudhir, like as Mr. Hans is given a good picture of our metaverse and a user perspective, technology, softwares using the media and OTT to a very advanced level or rather a user level. What modifications or updations you think are coming up on the device part, the generation of data part, how you support it, or how the modern upcoming devices support the needs of the user for the modern media and OTT technologies?
I'll answer this question into two parts actually. One is that device, as you said, device at a edge is also changing very fast. And also at the data center point or at a cloud side, it's also a lot of data is to be required to manage this new data creation which is happening from this entertainment industry. So first, I'll touch upon the bigger data actually, which has been created by this entertainment industry. See, Western Digital is a data storage company. Now I'll start with some of the data points here. See, what we estimate in the next 3 years, there is a requirement of around 3x new digital required data capacity to be required in next 3 years. So today the number is around 70 exabytes, and that will go up to 220, 230 exabyte. Now, what is exabyte means to people? Just for a bigger picture, I want just to give you a clarity. See, 1 exabyte is equal to 1 billion gigabyte. So that means there is a new requirement which is going to come up around 140, 150 new exabyte or 150 billion new gigabyte storage to be required. Now, this is very important for companies like us, which when we claim that we have around 40% of the data stores in Western Digital drives. Now, these hard drives are going to play a very, very important role. The reason is that if we go one step deeper into that to understand what is the share of these drives or different storage. So today around 70% of the data stored in hard drives, and that will go up to around 76 to 78% next 3 years. So that means there is a big demand going to come in the hard drives, and there are a lot of innovations happening in these hard drives alone. Now, how it is happening? We are adding a lot of disk into the same hard drives to increase the capacity. In the last 1 decade also, if you see that there is we were shipping around 2 TB of hard drives. Now today we are shipping around 22 TB hard drives actually. Now what is happening in this case, the media and entertainment companies can store very, very efficiently data in a very low space, and that will enable the cost optimization, and that they can pass it to the customers actually. That's one thing which is happening in this space. On a edge side, there are a lot of innovations are happening in a storage capacity side. See, earlier there are only micro SD cards are used to increase the capacity of any device. Today there are, because of the semiconductor advancement, you see that there are a lot of integration of these eMMCs, UFS, or even some content which you can store directly on these devices on an embedded board itself only. That can take care of your all storage needs at edge actually. So the device side also has been coming up with a lot of new features which I'm going to touch upon, that how it is changing the future of need of this kind of software which is coming up with a lot of requirements of this space actually.
I take it like all the upcoming modifications or the capacity, whether it is a capacity wise or whether it's the competence wise or the features wise of the embedded systems and the devices to hold that amount of metadata and to hold that amount of the digital activity going on the device part. But linking now to the device, to the software and to the user, I feel let's talk about the connective link, and I go on to my colleague Mr. Satyaprakash Singh ji. Satyaprakash Singh ji, how the amount of metadata or the device capacity that is bound to disrupt this media in OTT market for the future will actually go through the communication path through a lot of development we see are having on the fiber path, and the 5G has come, the technology data transfer and the connectivities and the gateways and all those of the devices have ultimately is a data transfer and connectivity. So I wish you throw this light on the aspect of the connectivity part.
Yeah, so thanks Ashokji, and good evening everyone. It's a very favorite topic of mine because I am from the same field, connectivity, and we have been working for almost 20 years in this field. So basically, I would like to take my audience to around 2000 when iPhone was launched, and then cable TV digitization happened. We have seen a lot of revolution in the last 23 years. Then 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. Now we are, and I remember in 2010, one average customer was using around 3 to 5 GB of data in a month. Today, if we talk about, people are using around 200 to 300 gigabytes data in a month, right? On average, I'm talking about. So, where this data is getting consumed? So basically, earlier, 2 years before, we were thinking that OTT and some premium contents are only a niche product and made for some a particular category. But today, it's common, right? Whatever kind of, whether it is TikTok, whether it is Facebook video, whether it is YouTube, whether it is any OTT platform where people using from mobile, there are so many people who are providing free content available, and this is the reason connectivity becomes more important, Ashokji and entire audience. And the way 5G has been launched with low latency, with deeper penetration, I think content will be enabled more for the public. And the success is the people who are having, like Mr. Bharat started saying, it's not only a matter of content or OTT or anything. It's a screen, connected screen. So we have around 21 crore potential connected screens. Screens are there, but those are not connected. And a lot of people are working on that. Big telcos, including companies like us. And we are using different technologies, Ashokji. Fiber to the home, copper is being used, wireless technology is being used. We have recently launched one product, broadband over satellite, right? So we did one very beautiful testing in Tawang, where connectivity is not even available. And people and kids are completely not getting education, quality education. Teachers are not available. So we did a tie-up. We partnered with one education platform. We did connectivity through satellite, and now real-time online classes are happening. Interactive sessions are happening. Teachers sitting somewhere in Bangalore, somewhere in Delhi, somewhere in other place, teaching to the students of Tawang district, Tawang location. And those were unprivileged kids. They are enjoying today and getting education for math, science, and other subjects which were not available. So, Meta, AI, VR, AR, these are the future, Ashok ji. And to support all these, you need interrupted connectivity, continuous connectivity, and entire forum will talk about how to connect more people, how to distribute more content, and how to monetize it. Right, sir? Thank you very much.
Well, very well, Mr. Satyaprakash Singh. You well explained the connectivity into the remote areas, but I'd like to get into more. You touched a few key topics of the latest advantages of the emerging technologies coming up, like artificial intelligence, AIS, metadata. We are discussing from the two more panelists highlighted about metadata. AI is coming up. What you will edutech as the thing is coming up on OTT. But I think the next expert Deepak ji we have here is Deepak ji. Lot of OTT platforms are coming up, and with a variety of content to give it to user. Surely the selection criteria will also be an artificial intelligence based user experience. What we are already discussing will play a key role. The environment and the devices connectivity. But what about OTT? This is coming up as a boom, like in the media industry. How do you highlight the upcoming platforms and the OTT platforms that you might you're also dealing with a lot of such cases? So how do you think what kind of platforms will persist in future?
Thanks, Akash. So you rightly said that we all are into a space, we call it entertainment. So we are here to entertain people. And there are three major stakeholders in this. One is content creator who is creating content for us. The other one is broadcaster who is combining these content. And the third one is distributor, like MSOs, big companies like Jio, Airtel, and other people who are distributing this content to the end user connectivity point of view. So, and the amazing thing is, I mean, in the past 3 years, during and after pandemic, we have seen sudden surge in the consumption of OTT as internet-based things, and video is leading. Of course, we know that either it's Instagram, YouTube, or OTTs. So, and the good thing is, everybody is trying to come up with their own OTTs. So, broadcasters, they want to come up with their own OTTs like ZEE5, Sony, etc. People like Jio and Airtel, they are also coming up with their own OTTs like Fiber, Jio Fiber, Airtel Extreme, etc. And the content creators, they are also coming up with their own OTTs. So it's an open market now. Everybody and anybody can come up with their own OTT solutions. If they have content, if they have tie-ups, they have connectivity, they are networking, anything, they can leverage on that. And that is why it's booming. The other major factor was internet connectivity in India and outside India as well. But India is the main potential market for anybody and everybody in this space because of the internet connectivity we are providing. The telcos are providing. The companies, ISPs and MSOs, they are doing fantastic work here. So to reach the end user connectivity point of view. So yes, I mean, there are a lot of opportunities, and we in India, we had a habit that, to watch for free or in a very minimal price. We have changed it drastically, that we are paying to Netflix, we are paying to Hotstar, we are paying to Prime, we are paying to a lot of OTTs to consume content. And that's the psychology we have changed in the past 2-3 years, has helped OTT and IPTV industries to grow more and more. So I think there is a huge potential in this market. We are coming up with a lot of new creative ideas. So of course, I think metro cities and tier 1 cities are already saturated with a lot of content. Tier 2, 3, 4 cities are still, we are experimenting a lot. But with the technologies, we are giving more. So for example, we are talking about metaverse, we are talking about AI implementation within OTT. So how we can leverage all these new technologies, upcoming technologies, and we will see this in future. So we have features like watch together, watch party, watch in metaverse, and gaming. So there are a lot of enhancements and new things happening in this OTT world. And of course, we will talk more about this in our next section. This is it.
Thank you, Mr. Deepak. I'd like to take it forward. Technologies will roll at the background of what all is coming to give to the users. And of course, it is going to be a very competitive market. Already artificial intelligence is doing a lot. Metaverse and gaming you mentioned are taking up the place. I'll once again come to Mr. Hans. Mr. Hans, these technologies will rule at the backstage of the framing of the softwares. Of IoT will be a major thing for the device developments. Metaverse, artificial intelligence, they are the platforms that will go through the technologies of developing software developments or a better UI experience needed. How do you think the technology will contribute and what role it can play, or what you can as a software developer utilize it?
Yeah, I think quite many of the technologies you mentioned are really just surfacing now, and we are just not there to understand the full impact. Just look about ChatGPT. Everyone talks about it. It's a brand new thing that is now commercially available through Microsoft, and Google is doing the same thing. But really the impact of artificial intelligence and this ChatGPT and the textual, robots behind, it's just too early to say, and many things will surface in the next 10 years for sure. And same for metaverse. Right now we have a few geeks collecting the first tweet. They buy like millions of dollars for some NFTs, which is not my kind of thing. I have to be quite honest. But also, if you look a bit further, if you look at the young population, they spend a lot of time in digital fashion, for example, that you purchase goods, NFT goods actually, and you want to look your avatar wearing the latest dress code from Gucci and sunglasses and sneakers that you purchased or you gained while playing games. So these things will come. And it's not me buying that stuff. I'm kind of the old generation, but young generation will do. Same thing also, I was just attending a world conference in London last week where we talk a lot about advertising. And to my surprise, the forecast of advertising is that TikTok will have twice the advertising revenue compared to Netflix, YouTube, and all others in the next 3 years. So these are really disruptive forces in the industry that we need to be ready to cope with. And eventually, the big thing is about how to make those products attractive and still usable. In my home, I have Alexa, I have Google, I have Siri, everything, and it's so fragmented, it does not solve my real day-to-day issues, really.
You use all this and you integrate with the environment. I'll take it to Mr. Bharat once again. What is Sensor TV and how do you look at the future perspective of the media and OTT as next for using the emerging technologies?
Thank you. So, let me do this top down. Of course, every OTT provider wants to maximize ARPU, right? The average revenue per user. But this normally distills into certain other success factors. Can I optimize on watch time on my platform? If you are a Netflix subscriber but you've not watched even for an hour in the last month, then it's a danger because at some stage they're going to probably unsubscribe. On the other side, this is a user-facing metric, but on the other side, you also have a content-facing metric. per piece of content you acquire, you still want to increase the watch time for it. Because content has shelf life, people have paid something to get that content on their shelf. If people do not watch it, if you've paid a lot of money, but beyond the first 2 days, if nobody's watching it, it's a lot of money wasted. So there are new strategies that people are employing. Let me give an example. You take this super hit called RRR, right? And there was a race. You had Z5, which acquired the rights for this. And then Netflix, in fact, ran over to acquire the Hindi version of this. After a few months, a couple of months, RRR mysteriously also appeared in Hotstar. So there's something that's happening here. And what's also interesting is when it first releases, a lot of homes watch the whole piece of content completely. But after that, they do not watch it again and again, right? Because the novelty of watching the same piece again and again is less. But you paid a lot to buy this piece of content. It's one of the most expensive pieces. Can you do something to that? Can you repurpose it? Can you resurface it in different ways so that people still consume it over maybe a 3-month period, maybe a 4-month period? Can you do a cut of RRR that is friendly to children? Maybe you get the tiger scene back. Can you do a cut of RRR that is friendly to dancers, right? So you get a cut with Natu Natu back. So what OTTs are now looking at is take the same piece of content and say, can I get different views of the same thing? Can I excite consumers to watch it again? And if so, what should that poster be? What should the trailer be? If there's Ajay Devgan's birthday coming up, suddenly there'll be Ajay Devgan short of RRR that will kind of surface. So this is in fact one of the new things that we've been working on. We are super excited about, and we've got good adoption from the top OTT providers as well, where you're looking at this thing called video indexing, where you index a whole piece of content and then extract just tidbits of it again and again, maybe do personalized posters. And a lot of OTTs have actually done studies where they found out that for the same movie, after a week, you use a different poster, you get different click-through rates, you get different watch times and so on. So what goes behind this? I've been talking about a more a metrics-oriented view, but what goes behind this is you need to prepare the content to be amenable for doing these things. You have the index right. Can you come up with quick combinations of the content itself? So we've seen a lot of adoption in analyzing video analytics, obviously video indexer, and there's a ton of machine learning that we use to do all this stuff. This is an exciting area, and we see OTTs are also moving towards this thing called scene search, where can you just say, give me that scene of Rajnikant where he plays with a snake, right? And you just get that back and play it back again. A lot of technology requirements here, especially given how video engineering works with all the transcoding and all those features. So I think we are at a stage where consumers are demanding more, businesses need to explore more, come up with innovative ways of putting content in front of people. Technology providers need to innovate more to make this all work ultimately. So it's a fascinating time from that perspective. Several of these projects are going to roll out soon. And we see India is as good as any other geography here, especially given the huge audience that's already on OTT now.
Thank you, Balaji. We have discussed about the content and the devices and the communication, but I think for what next, I will take out to one more case, that is something next coming up in future for the content creators too, like a security of the content, the security of the copyright, the transaction security. I even don't mind taking monetization and payment securities. And I feel that blockchain is in future going to play a major role as far as the security is concerned, is coming up as a major distributed ledger and a disruptive technology that will be very fine for the content creators. particularly for as far as the security issues are concerned. Regarding content, you have given a nice perspective on the content selection, like the shortlisting of the content's clips, which portion a user will like to watch again, and that too, like the kids might be having a view to look something else, and something who's interested in dance or something else. There are other activities like in future with the OTT may come with the use of the device. You already have a setup box installed there, and a modified setup box can be utilized other than OTT for multiple other purposes. I think the development in the setup box, and Mr. Sudhir, I'm coming once again to you for what else the setup box can serve, and also what it like. I use it for gaming or gaming in the media and other things. Mr. Sudhir, your view on the thing.
Yeah, thanks, Akash. Yes, so this hardware piece of OTT, which is called setup box now, is also require a lot of innovation. What is happening is in this case that all the operator wants these setup box at a low cost. Either they can create some value out of this setup box by giving some more application oriented things, or they can just use some old technologies. So what is happening in the setup box market, what you have seen in this space globally also, they're adding more and more complexity in the design perspective from the hardware to integrate gaming, and also some of the features like push VODs or stop, pause and pause, which requires not only the software piece also, but it also requires some of the hardware in terms of more storage, so you can push more and more content at the edge, so people can watch it at their own ease, and for that you need to have some value which you can bring or which you can show to the end customers also. And these setup boxes, which I've seen in some of the markets also in some other places across globe, people are using these boxes not only as a content streaming box, but also using as an IoT gateway for home automation for the home. Also, they are using it for media servers, so that means they can store all their mobile phones, media and photographs into one common box, which is a setup box or as a media box, and they can stream it to the TV whenever they want with the family. Also, people are using these boxes as a surveillance box also. That also creates a lot of value to the end users, and which can always take to the next level of these applications or OTT, beyond OTTs also, as from a device perspective actually. Yeah.
Oh, well, Deepakji. So, lot of things can be expected in future, and we have to keep ourselves updated and also working into to adopt these emerging technologies. Artificial intelligence. Once again, I'd like Mr. Deepak to give or rather elaborate what all perspectives do you feel that can be used for the benefit, or how to give a better user perspective in the media platform and the OTT platforms.
Sure. So AI is definitely, and it's not the future, it's present. So, we are seeing a lot of developments in this sector. ChatGPT we have already seen. There are a lot of AI implementation have already been done. Netflix and Prime and Hotstar, they've already been doing it for years now. So the basic things like recommendations and personalization, everything is already done. Now we are talking about the advancements of AI, or maybe you just talked about blockchain or metaverse. So in fact, we recently launched one of the feature called Watch in Metaverse. So along with now we are seeing everything is connected devices and IoT devices, every single device, but now we can watch it in metaverse also together. For example, Gen Z people who want to watch it in metaverse in engaging formats, they can do it. For you rightly said, for content privacy, blockchain can be one of the solution, because I've gone through this situation where I have content, and a few content producer or directors, they're reaching out to us that this is my content. So with blockchain, these kind of problems can be addressed. And in India, we don't necessarily have to have a production house now. I mean, everybody is creator. We are seeing this from small towns, small cities. There are a lot of people who are coming up with their own content. Now they are going to big media houses, big production houses also. They are becoming stars. So it's not that the content generation is only happening from production houses only, big production houses, but anybody and everybody can be the content creator. So to protect that content privacy, content ownership and everything, blockchain is one of the implementation which can be integrated, and blockchain based DRMs are already there in the market now to protect the content, of course. But other than this, AI is, again, as Bharat said, that there are a lot of advancements the team is doing. In sports, it is being used so automatically create highlights of a cricket match or a football match. It's some of the use cases which we are already using. So I think these are some of the things which we will see in future live and implementation of all these features in the OTTs.
Very well, Mr. Deepak Joshi. And I add that other than the blockchain applications, so Web3 as blockchain or a part of blockchain like decentralized networking will play a very major role again in the data creation and the storage. Like Web3 is going to do a lot of more things. The other thing what I feel is to add is that IPv6 protocol in the device sector will be coming up very fine because it again adds to the specialization of the IP address of the device, and it ensures a better traceability, even tracking and the device data capabilities. Now I move to Mr. Satyaprakash Singh once again. Sir, a little bit elaboration on the communication part, like OTT. There are a lot of OTT channels coming up, a lot of things coming up. How it can have its approach up to the most rural or the semi-urban areas, like with the broadband and the kind of networking and the infrastructure wise, what will be the needs of the future and how are at present and in future aiming to meet those needs?
Okay, thanks, Mr. Akash. I think connectivity content is available, and as Deepak said, everybody has become a content provider and manufacturer or producer. A lot of reels you see on Instagram, and those are basically becoming a revenue generation source also for a lot of people. A lot of content on YouTube. The challenge what Akashi is reaching to the masses. This kind of content are everyone in India getting all these contents delivered, even in say 1,000 kilometers away from Delhi, in some urban city or completely rural area. So I think with 5G rollout, it is becoming feasible, Akashi, and government has done a lot of work. And at our organization at NXT Digital, we have also done a lot of work working with governments, organizations, working with private organizations also to reach to the villages. Like we are working on some projects where we are taking kind of adopting some villages, right? Where we will give free Wi-Fi, free content, free education. So initially making people aware about what kind of contents they can benefit, how they can benefit from these kind of contents which are available. In metros, in bigger cities, I think everybody is having enough data to use. But in fact, I would request content providers also, OTT providers also, to think about it. Monetization, I think after some time it will become a byproduct. Once you reach to the people, you reach to the target audience, and there are so many people who are waiting for content. They are not able to reach. And Akashi, as you said, Web3 application, blockchain, and all. Some regulation is also required on these contents to filter the data, because I see a lot of vulgar and non-required contents available on the many OTT platforms, which is required. See, for example, in terrestrial and typical TV network, cable TV network, the contents are filtered. Those are regulated. But for OTT, there is no regulation. I think that is also required, looking at our culture, our sanskar, and our everything. So,
like some mechanism or a user interface filter for abusing words or some such kind of content, which may come as the artificial intelligence kind of thing.
correct.
Ultimately, some may not like to watch some.
People may not like, but I think these are important. Today, I see in our homes a lot of kids. They talk such languages which we heard after entering into graduation, maybe. So these are actually being translated from those contents. I'm not against that, but I'm saying those should be regulated, basically.
Satyaprakash Singh ji, media and OTT are such a familiar topic. What I am sure is there must a lot going on in the minds of audience also. Something like a kind of thing you might be interested in. What's next? And if you have a question for any of our panelists regarding what next, I welcome your questions for it.
Is it audible? Yeah. So I think there was a mention of metaverse earlier, right? How are OTT platforms adapting to the metaverse as we are in the early stages? And what would we could see, like probably like in the next few years in the metaverse area and the Web3 area, like with adaptation happening right now? And a gentleman was mentioning about metaverse itself, right? Would like to know more about it.
So I'll take this. Thanks for your question. Yeah, you rightly said that metaverse is very early to hit the market, but a few OTTs will hit the market very soon in this quarter itself. I think AHA is coming up with AHAverse. We are also coming up with a couple of OTTs like Toonstan, everybody. So how it is going to work? So with every movie listed in the OTT will have an option like watch in metaverse. And whenever you click on that, it will open up a complete metaverse kind of experience where everyone will have a different set there. But like we have a multiplex kind of system there, where we have a screen playing the movie which you want to watch, and then you can enter to the metaverse. You will have a small video. You can enable your video also and audio also. So there will be multiple people, browsing through the same metaverse area and watching the same movie. But you will be entered to the metaverse, and you can talk to them. You can do whatever. I mean, if you want to do chatting or set up a meeting for future. Or anything. So whatever feature we want to include in that, we can do that. But the basic ones will be, you will be there, people will be able to watch the movie along with your video, and you will also be able to communicate there in different ways. Gaming can also be included there, a little bit of gaming, like we used to play Tekken 3 in like few years ago. So you can include there that you can play some game along with watching the content as well. There are concepts which we have come up with, but then of course, for example, AHAverse, what I've learned about
Mr. Deepak, even Hans has something to contribute on metaverse. I think you have something.
Sorry, I didn't want to stop you here. Just my 2 cents on that one is, if you look at metaverse today, it's mostly on virtual reality, that you have your goggles or your glasses, But I think also the next evolution will come that it's actually for flat panels that you don't need to wear anything. So either it's augmented reality that you have simple to wear glasses, or just it's on a plain surface. And that's for me the barrier that needs to be removed for the wider acceptance.
I think with this, I'll take a last word of what's next coming in the technology, and let us not miss the learning part of the emerging technologies, like in edutech. All the upcoming technologies will be made feasible by our team, how educated they are on the use or the development of the software part, or on the device part, or on even educating users on the user part. I think there is endless opportunities coming up, and the technology is ever changing. It's changing also so fast. It's coming so fast, changing so fast, and being updated so fast. So we have to be aware on all the things, and I really feel there's lot next to come up, and we'll be keep also updated on this. I think thank you, ma'am, for this.
Is on? Yeah. Before we close the session, I would like to request our moderator, Mr. Akash Gehlot, to give out mementos to our speakers. It was a lovely session, very interesting. Now really the theme is media and OTT. So I would request Mr. Gehlot to give us. First to Mr. Hans Jogen. Mr. Bharat Mohan. Mr. Satyaprakash Singh. Mr. Sudhir Khurana. Mr. Deepak Joshi. Thank you. And before everything, sir, our moderator, sir, Mr. Akash Gehlot, a small token for you from on behalf of Exhibitions India. Richika is doing you the honors.